Let's speak to Michael Arnold now. He is a researcher for TRT World's Research Center. Thanks so much for joining us. I need to hone in on that last point that they've just said. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is not being investigated. Doesn't that make this whole process somewhat of a farce?
Sure. I think what we're seeing here is really a Saudi attempt to get ahead of the narrative and to get in line with the narrative being proposed by not only Saudi Arabia, but some of their backers, particularly those who have invested their energies behind Mohammed bin Salman in this case. What we've been seeing in the last week is an effort to really, you could say, save Mohammed bin Salman and having a last-ditch effort to make sure that he stays in his position of authority.
Right. But I mean, in trying to get ahead of the narrative, as you repeated there, there's, it seems like another kind of haphazard effort that they're just hoping they can get this done with quickly, which again could backfire, much like they thought the murder of Khashoggi himself could quickly be swept under the rug.
Sure, absolutely. That's a good point. I think it's particularly with the continuing information coming from Turkish authorities. They've now allegedly shared the audio tape with a number of Western allies whose intelligence agencies have reviewed the contents of the tape. There's been reports that American intelligence officials have indicated that they believe that references to the tape may refer to Mohammed bin Salman. So absolutely, I mean, this effort to try to get ahead of the narrative could very well backfire if more detailed information is released afterwards. Absolutely.
There should also be, I think, some concern then about the suspects themselves, that the death penalty is now being sought for. As we heard on these tapes, if it is true, that line that, you know, tell your boss that the job is finished,
sure,
it's very possible that these were men carrying out orders. And as we said before, nobody does anything in Saudi without permission from the proper authorities because the penalties are so severe. So what will happen to these men? Could they be executed in front of the world's eyes without any kind of judicial process, proper judicial process?
Well, absolutely. I think this is a known fact in Saudi Arabia that judicial process is essentially at the will of those governing. I would imagine that in this case, the Saudis will want to put on at least a ruse that there is some sort of judicial process taking place for these men. But it's absolutely, it's definitely a risk.
What are the options then now? I mean, as far as Turkey and the international community is concerned, to try and intervene in this process to make it a just one, so that the actual perpetrators of this crime and whomever ordered it are tried fairly?
I think the way to do that is what's been happening so far. Sustained pressure through international institutions, through alliances, and not so much putting pressure directly on Saudi Arabia because they are receiving that pressure, but maintaining pressure on those who are backing not just Saudi Arabia, but backing Mohammed bin Salman in this case. So putting pressure on those within the American administration, within Britain, France, these places, even towards Israel, who's come out and made public statements in support of Mohammed bin Salman. So maintaining pressure on those who are backing him as their sort of hopes for the region, I think, is the way forward.
Okay, Michael Arnold, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for coming in.